Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 29, day 4. It is July 21st, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. Support your knowledge of the market. See what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, welcome newcomers. If this is your first time in the video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the indices, futures, and some of the earnings release. And let's jump right into it. Taking a look at let's jump right in. Starbucks out with its numbers right here, missing its numbers by not too much, but at least for shares to skyrocket down. Let's jump right into the Thinkorswim platform. Take a look at the charts here as we see Starbucks here on the downslide. Price action, I know for a while we've been talking about it, has been struggling downside, got a little bit of a lift over the last, for the most part of July here. Price action holding upside. But on the bigger picture daily, and again, it's been struggling here on the weekly as well, sitting in between the 50 and the 200. We looked at this on Monday, we looked at this yesterday, and here we are Thursday with earnings coming out. So price action again to the downside. Again, like any earnings share, I like to see the follow through on the next day as price action tomorrow. See where it goes through, as we saw in the Netflix results here the other day. Netflix, again, missing revenues, got an open gap up here that we'll go ahead and see if that eventually gets filled. But for the most part, Netflix down to that 80, about 85 and holding steady. So right now the technical momentum on Netflix to the downside. So for any reason you see Netflix to the upside, well, I don't have technical momentum to say that's where we're going. I do think eventually we will come up, fill up open gaps, but I need a bigger trend. And so following this 3 days a week, every other day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, hopefully we'll get the early signal on that. Again, Starbucks misses his revenue. Price action to the downside. Look for the follow through tomorrow. See where we're at. Again, price now at around 55, so holding underneath the 50-period moving average. So I got to go with the technical momentum, not biased, but technical momentum to the downtrend. All right, we'll come back and take a look at the some of the FX markets. But for now, let's jump right into the overall session for today on the three indices here. We'll take a look at some of the other futures as well. Again, econ data here from jobless claims pretty much flat. Existing home sales was a positive number. Not a bad day, 170 ticks, 51 on the NQ, but our winner today, the YM followed by the ES. Again, three setups there on the NQ. Well, what was going on? First of all, beta version trend predictor from the get-go was the short. Nice trend prediction there, that the fact that market was going down today, and that's exactly where we went. So we're looking at the session here on the NQ this morning. Again, choppy across the board. Overnight session was choppy as well. And what you're doing is going with the highest probability setup. Here we have 5 charts in the green on the NQ. Buy signal to the upside. You manage it. You place your trade in hopes that it will run. It doesn't run. You stopped out. Hopefully it either break even or some negative number beyond where you got your first contract off, and you wait for the next signal. And then you say, all right, maybe we're going for the short under the T350. Maybe you take a scalp, you go back in the long, you take a scalp. Whichever way you're going, you're always looking for the higher probability setups. Again, setup number 1 here was my first setup, and then eventually setup number 2 over here on the high probability. More charts in sync, higher probability of continuing in trend. And so price action got away. PM session, there it was, setups number 2 and 3 to the downside on the NQ. Here's the YM running it down, very controlled today. 5 charts in the red, all the way down with a 51.44, holding you in trend as well. Technical momentum to the downside. There's using the 5 chart momentum. We got the higher time frames in the red. We got the setup on the smaller time frame, the 51.44. Very nice to manage. Again, taking that first contract off wherever you decide. You could take it off at the pullback, you could take it off at the crossover, or you could just simply run it down. Management on your own. But again, big trend to the downside, very easy to stay in with the HA bars. It's all about management on the way down. Take a look here at the YM. As YM, same picture. Sell signal downside for a total of 79 ticks there, 50 underneath 144, and the higher time frames downside. Keep it simple, as Jeff Quinto says. And here we are, NQ to the downside again. Managing to get stopped out there, but then price action back downside again. Move my stop to break even. I could have kept it at that -8. It would have been okay, but stopped out and decided to let it go, and that was it. All right, let's jump right in here to the AD line. Again, AD line downside, got a little lift in the AM session, and then for the most part, back downside. As soon as price action got down to that 750, there it was. All I need to do was pause, and that was going to be it for the remainder of the session. Take a look at the 5-minute chart, 5-minute across the board. Crude again coming down. Crude has been in a down descent on a 4-hour chart. We'll see that here in a minute. Pretty much down to yesterday's low here, stalling here at the CAM level, holding at the 25-minute open range for a good part of the AM session. Again, you can see the chop here across the board on all three indices in between the 25-minute open range until finally we let go. Hey guys, you can have an uptrend, you can have a small pullback. Who knows what's to happen tomorrow? Watch the overnight flow, but you know, price action it didn't have to, but at some point I think we get thinned out a little bit. You know, you're not getting any action up above, so you got to pull back a little bit, take a little profit. Price action pulls back to the CAM line, stalls, comes back down. Again, all these levels of interest, but in my mind, I'm watching candles. I'm trading on candles, looking for setup in candles, and that's how I manage the trend. All right, let's jump in. How do we do on the fib levels today? Not bad. NQ pretty much holds to the downside. Target low was hit on the YM and target low on the ES. Very nice move. So 343 today. Take a look at the daily gaps as price action continues to move upside. We got no more open gaps. Again, NQ with this zone of interest up here. These are recent highs in 2015 and above. Pretty much 39.75 up there. Open gaps, we're headed to them. If we get the follow through overnight or Friday session, we'll get these 36.75, 304. Big picture is still I got plenty of open gaps downside for market to come out and close. Not sure if we're going to get it now. Can't tell you that. As far as crude continuing down. Watch for that 43.23, but open gap wise 40.24 is the first level to close. VPOC doing a nice job closing out Tuesday's VPOC here. Again, ESY. Each day I showed this to you. Why am I looking at it? I'm looking again. If you don't have a level, if you don't have an open gap, you can always look for an intraday, just as I could do right here on the 5-minute chart. But if you're watching the VPOC, you're watching for price action, and look at the ES right to the VPOC here, closes it out, pretty much holds to that and bounces back up into volume area. That's a level of interest to watch each day. Crude now back under the 600-day 45.70 as NQ follows downside here. You can see Thursday exactly what I'm talking about, closing that VPOC to just about a T. I'm not saying it closes it out. I'm just saying it's a level of interest. In the end, I don't worry about the levels. I sit well. I don't want to say I worry. I might hesitate before I take an entry before the Globex or perhaps the 25-minute open range high or low. But as far as once in the trade, I can use them to manage it, or I can simply say, hey, you know, it's all about the candles. All right, let's jump into the daily trend. Take a look at the big picture here as crude continues to the downside. Nice move on the crude underneath the Globex low. Again, pretty much overnight session was chopped. Down session today. Couple of entries here, but very tough to stay in, but making lower highs here. Nicest move of the day here right on the European close. YM, again, we showed you that nice move to the downside. Very easy to manage. NQ, same picture, about a lot of chop morning session, and there it was. Tried to make a go at it. I think I bailed on this a little bit early. Probably bailed on the solid body tail up. Could have stayed on it, but no mulligans here. So get out and re-enter on a nice AD line that was coming downside and tick count. ES, again, very nice move. Been a long time since I got a nice move on the ES, but 40 tick, I think that was a 40 tick run there. Yeah, let's check. Yep, 40 ticks downside to manage, and then once the crossover, so you go with your best probability. And if you got markets down, you look for gold to the upside. Beautiful move. There it is, gold in the Heikin Ashi bars holding above the T350 and all green to the upside, whether you just managed at the swing size low or you re-entered. little catchy here, as you probably would have been stopped out at the swing size, so you might have taken a loss here. Back in for some ticks to the upside, put you in the green. And wrapping up on the euro, is the euro coming down here, sell signal downside there. Price action on 2 charts. Finally, 5 charts down here as price action gave way. Again, a little bit of a catcher here, sell signal downside. That's a tough one. I probably would have held off. Wanted to see a follow through underneath the Globex low, so would have held off here, and probably would have held off here as well. But this price action a couple bars down, and you got yourself a nice entry on the euro. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, crude continues to downslide here as T350 holds up. Downside, keeps rejecting on the 4 hours. We make our way down, so we got the 200 MA, and don't forget we have the daily gaps downside, plus the 43.23. Plus, if you look at your VPOCs, you want to be aware of any VPOC levels down below, and right now it's clear sailing to 41.20. So hopefully crude either drops or finds some support here and lifts back to the upside. Taking a look at the 3 indices across the board as we hold above the 50-200s. Volume under par today, just under 60-period moving average. Heikin Ashi bars now in a pullback as we continue in this uptrend. 50 above 144 and above the T350. So looking today on that ES move down in YM, I've got my eyes. That's right, I'm watching. I know we're not getting to the 50 on a daily, but I got that 50 EMA, I got that T350 as well in my headlights there. But again, we broke that level here at 2160, so I'm looking downside to the 50 EMA. Again, I'm watching the candles more than I'm watching levels, but I got that because that is the first level of support that I might see in resistance to the downside. So I got that in my sights, and I say, all right, I'm watching. Well, it doesn't go there, it turns around, all right, and I manage the trade on the candles. All right, let's jump back into, again, let's take a look at that. We saw that Starbucks, again, getting a little lift here on post-session here. As price action, again, to the downside. We'll watch for the follow-through. We'll bring up the chart tomorrow to see how we're doing, see if it's an opportunity. Again, you know that what the big time frame is. The bigger time frame on a weekly is still upside. You got resistance here at the 200, at the 50. Again, daily picture in a pullback upside here. Still holding up here around 57, but we were dropped down now in after hours down here. So the daily we'll have to watch, if it comes back upside, we'll have to watch for the 50 resistance. And again, you can see price action whittled its way down and back up side on the 4-hour chart. So sometimes it takes a day or two. I'll look for the intraday setup on Starbucks. Again, I'm not recommending a buy or sell here. All I'm saying is let's wait for a day or two and see where the technical momentum sets up. All right, so we'll watching for the Netflix, and as we know, tomorrow we'll revisit the Apple, the market cap leaders. We got earnings next week on Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Alphabet, Google. Hey guys, on Thursdays what we'll be doing is taking a look at some of the FX pairs. We'll just stick to 3 right now. Take a look at the European. As we saw the euro market, we know that for the most part, again, this strategy using the T3 moving averages works well on not only futures and stocks with options, but also on the FX pairs. Again, I like the 100 tick range charts usually on the FX pairs. Looking at adding a moving average here, maybe going to a higher time frame in, over the weekend. Again, taking a look at the using possibly a 20 tick chart or a 50 tick chart with a 144. Seeing a lot of good results perhaps on that. But again, let's just take a look at what we have now. Current momentum definitely on the euro has been downside. I look at the futures, look at the weekly, it's been downside, but finding a little bit of cushion zone here as again, you can short this, no problem. You go for the options trade. You got a nice setup as price action is holding downside on the 4-hour, just as we saw in the crude. Unable to really break above this 50 in the 144 and really break to the upside. So you watch your 50 tick range chart. Again, this is just intraday here. You got yourself a nice setup to the short. You got it on the 100 tick. You have it on the 100 tick, and you watch for the setup on the 15-minute, which gets you into the bigger splice into the bigger trend. So love the euro still to the downside. Taking a look at the pound, which we know has been hammered for over the last couple of weeks since post-Brexit. Again, there's that nice drop under the 50 and the 200 on a daily. Price action again, you can see here is rejected here. Downside on the 50, sweep down here on the HA bar showing trend. A little bit of a pullback on a daily. So for the continued trend on the pound, you'll want to look for the intraday. Right now, intraday in the green, so we don't want to go there. Watch for the price action on the 4-hour to tuck below that T350, and we got ourselves a nice setup to the short. All right, wrapping it up with the USD Japanese yen here. Price action underneath the T350. Again, news coming out tomorrow or overnight on the Bank of Japan. Stimulus negative rate, so we'll see perhaps some good action on this. And we'll revisit this tomorrow as well. Taking a look at the weekly chart, has been upside, but we're now underneath the 200 period moving average. So that little resistance there on the weekly here. Holding up, which means on the daily we have a level of resistance here on also the 50. So all across the board you see resistance here, upside, and then we have the 4-hour chart, which has gotten a nice bounce upside, but let's see if the support here holds upside. Support here on the yen holds and lifts. That's the breakthrough here on the resistance on the higher time frames. Well, how do I splice in? Well, you have a pullback here. I'm in the red, I'm in the red, I'm in the red, so that's a little concerning. If I'm going long, I want to get back in the green on the intraday. If I'm going short, looking to continue the higher time frame, the weekly and the daily, then I have the perfect opportunity for the setup. And again, I can go in hindsight say, yeah, guys, the setup on the end, you probably could have spliced in here at least on Thursday on a 50 tick. But again, you get a 50 tick chart, you're going to get a lot of more. You got to get a lot more noise. Sticking to the 100 tick range chart, a lot more even, or go higher, go to a 200 or 300 chart. But anyway, my point is always look for the higher time frame. Look where the bigger current trend is. Then look to the 4-hour to supplement the intraday and hopefully get a splice into the direction. Right now, I got to go with the intraday session, which is downside with the 15-minute chart, 100 tick and 50. But again, if we're coming down, look for the resistance on the 4-hour chart to be that level, which is over here at 105.26. If we break down, then I would look for the T350 as the next level down here around 104, which will hold suit because the reject here on the daily as well as the weekly. All right, heading into tomorrow, end of the week on economic data. As far as earnings are concerned, I got nothing in my sights right now that I'm looking at, but if anything of interest, we'll pull that up tomorrow. So economic data, we have pretty light PMI, that's it. And as far as earnings are concerned, we can take a look at that earnings calendar here. Let's go ahead, Earnings Whisper, earningswhispers.com. Taking a look at tomorrow, General Electric, American Airlines, Honeywell, Whirlpool, a couple of the biggies there. Again, we got only about 35, so pretty light on econ data. All right, guys, that concludes an insight into the daily trend. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra of one simple strategy: any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts, and as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. I don't call myself a guru. I simply really do just trade the charts. Taking a look at some of these charts today, I'm only trying to go with the momentum. I'm looking for the highest probability setup, and when I get a runner, that's my goal, is to stay on it as long as possible. Is it a 100% guarantee? No, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee in the market. You only take a risk, and you take a risk every time you look at a setup and you place a trade, and then you hopefully will go in your direction. I'm looking for the big runners. It doesn't always happen, so hey, I get stopped out for my losses, as well as sometimes just looking at a 2-tick loss, but try to keep that to a minimum. All right, guys, have yourself a Blue Zone day wherever you may be. Have yourselves a good day, good night, and good trading to you.